Hey everybody, and welcome to Straight to the Point Tennis in our 3-minute racket review series. Today we're going to be looking at the Head Microgel Prestige Pro. Just want to say off the top here that I did use this frame for a considerable amount of my junior career, so there will definitely be some bias layered into this assessment. Starting with the ground strokes, I'd give this a 9 out of 10. I think there's exceptional directional control, but also a really nice open string pattern that gives you good access to spin. The only shortcoming that I would say out of the box for this stick is really just the lack of power and the lack of stability in the upper hoop. But in general, I think it is a great hitting experience from the back of the court. Next, under the net play, I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. I think in terms of my experience with the frame, it is one of the better, more nimble frames at the net. It allows you to get the racket into position quickly. These frames came with pretty low swing weights out of the box, so it wasn't necessarily tough to get into position, and the string bed itself has great feel across the entirety of it. Next, onto our serving, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. I think the lack of power does hurt this frame a bit on the serve, especially the lack of weight distributed into the upper hoop, especially towards the tip of the frame. In my opinion, I think you can hit some really nice slice serves and flat serves out of the box. Next, onto our power section, I'd give it a 6 out of 10. I mentioned a few times, I think this frame is a little bit anemic out of the box, even though it is the pro version, which is considered to be the heaviest and the highest swing weights. For me, I think it still lacks power just based on the weight distribution and just overall the way that the frame is set up in terms of the layup. Next, on to control, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Just a classic prestige response where you feel like you can put the ball on a dime. For me, I think there's just a really nice combination of spin and control with this stick because you feel like you can take a big cut, but it's still going to really fall into a smaller window that you might be targeting on the court. Moving on to our spin category, I'd give it a 7.7. I think it does have a really open pattern, but just the beam width and the small head size does limit its spin potential relative to other frames on the market. Next to our stability section, I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10. I think I've lamented this a few times, but the frame isn't very stable out of the box. It definitely needs some weight in the upper hoop. Onto our comfort section, I would give this a 10 out of 10. I think it's for sure the standout feature of this frame. The Microgel layup has this awesome combination of being plush, but also having this really unique way of distributing the impact force in the string bed. So even if you hit the ball off center, it doesn't feel so jarring. Next, onto our flex profile, I think with this Prestige, I would give it a lower yoke flex. It's very similar to the Pro Tour 2.0, Pro Tours of old. Really flexes in the right spot that makes you feel like it snaps straight into contact. Next, onto our touch and responsiveness, I give it a 9 out of 10. I think the thin beam combined with the comfortable layup and a nice evenly spaced string pattern allows you to know where the ball is sitting in the string bed at all times. Next to our will it lead category, I think this one's tough to recommend. It's a very demanding frame. Static weight is close to 340, 350. So for the average player, I think unless you come from thin beam player sticks, this isn't one that you'd want to look towards. And lastly, to our cosmetic section, I think this is a terrific paint job. Great combination of a classic deep red that we identify with the Prestige and some of those, signature Microgel design features like the striping in the hoop. Thanks everybody for tuning into this racket review. We'll see you in the next one.